Well, welcome on back, Bronco Nation News Live. Greetings, Boise State fans. BJ Rain, Bronco Nation News. Very pleased, honored to be joined by the Director of Athletics over at Boise State, Mr. Jeramiah Dickey. Jeremiah, appreciate your time today. How's it going, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I saw on your video. I want one of those hats. So, how much is that going to cost me?
Well, we got to go through trademark and licensing. I'm not sure I'm allowed to do that, sir. Maybe you have the power to change that. We'll see. But yeah, it's right here, so
Yeah, yeah,
maybe we
that's
can
a
make.
cool hat.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you. But it's a collector's item. We got two made, so we'll see.
Okay.
But no, appreciate you coming on and kind of giving us a just an update on some various things going on with Boise State Athletics. Obviously, the basketball team is the hot story right now. Unfortunately, last night's game didn't go well. The 14-game winning streak comes to an end, but 17-5, 8-1, still in first place in the Mountain West, and now coming home tomorrow. What's just your take, I guess, to this point of Leon Rice's squad and pushing hopefully towards that first NCAA tournament bid since 2015?
Well, I think you know me well enough that we're going to control what we can, and that's one game at a time. What an amazing atmosphere and experience last night for our team, and a very hostile environment. And Wyoming's a great program, and they're doing an unbelievable job. And really happy for their athletic director Tom. And that was a tough game. And but I don't want it to be lost on Bronco Nation. I mean, the run that we just had. Considering the COVID challenges and how much we were on the road, and to play in a conference like the Mountain West, it's just it's elite this year, and so there's still a lot of basketball to be played. But I'd be remiss if I didn't just thank Bronco Nation for those that have been showing up and our team in general, to not lose a game in the month of December and January, and to have a school record of 14 wins in a row. It's unrealistic to think you're going to win every game, but to go on a run like that, and I think the only other run that's happened like that this year is the number one team in the nation, and so it's really a testament to Leon and those coaches and that staff and the support that collectively we're providing to serve those kids, and just really proud of them and happy for that. But my mindset's always what's next, and I know that's coaches as well. So I'm looking forward to Saturday.
Yeah, you guys are doing some different ticket initiatives. I know we got the email for my kids for the West Ada School District doing some half
Right.
price tickets, and you guys have the We Win, You Win promotion, still selling that, I believe. You buy a ticket up in the balcony. If the team wins, you get a free ticket to the next game against UNLV. So my understanding is this will be the biggest crowd of the season probably to date. You guys do have that third level open. Now, what's the I guess just hope, I guess, that the fans will come out and give the team the attention they deserve. And you do have a nice stretch here, for all the road games, and it's been crazy the lack of home games the last 2 months. You guys do get 3 in a row now at home, 4 out of 5, and you finish the season here with 6 of 9 at home. How big is this to hopefully get some fans in here? And obviously you guys are trying to do some things to make it affordable and bring some folks out to the games.
Yeah, well, one, I mean, the gauntlet we just went through on the road. I mean, to have some home games, especially for our fans and our students, is a great opportunity for us. I've said it before. Everything counts. Everything matters, and we're going to operate and live a Power Five mentality, and that's something that's important. And part of that is we need to pack extra mile. And I've been really pleased and so grateful for Jake Mencken and our ticket sales teams, and how they've approached this. And like you said, I appreciate you mentioning it. The email that your kids got. We're partnering with a number of different communities in the Treasure Valley and tying in, getting these promotions out there and really expanding on our database. And there is a level of ownership and responsibility we have in athletics to continue to push that we're not just a football institution. We have 18 sport programs, and men's basketball is so important to us. And you're going to see this domino in a positive direction across the board for all 350 plus student athletes. For Saturday's game, I believe we're over 8,000 tickets out, and that doesn't include students. And so, Bronco Nation is stepping up. Obviously, there's some work that we still need to do, within our community to really drive home that this is important. It impacts perception, it impacts recruiting, it impacts our competitiveness. You saw last night at Wyoming, they're storming the floor after beating us. I mean, that's awesome, right? and that's something that's not saying I want people to storm the floor, but it just shows you that we have an elite basketball program, and they deserve it. They've earned it, and they're showing up and doing their part. And my hope is Bronco Nation will do the same and be loud. And I know we get a lot of questions, BJ, and I'm usually attached to some of those threads you get, about atmosphere. And the best thing for atmosphere are people within that facility. And the more you have, the louder it will be, and the better the atmosphere will ultimately end up. So I'm really excited to see everyone on Saturday and what these next home games look like.
Well, maybe they can go on a run here and get to a point where the home finale, the senior night against Nevada, maybe you guys can clinch the Mountain West and they can storm the floor all they want for that one. How about that, to celebrate the Mountain West title? But again, 3 in a row at home, it is a good opportunity. And like I said, I'm not just trying to say this because you're on there, but you buy a ticket to a game and you win, you get another free ticket. I mean, it's a great opportunity to see multiple games here, and it makes a lot of sense. So hopefully folks continue to take advantage of that. And the games are just more fun to go to, more for media, for fans, for anybody. When there's more people in that building, it's you go to some of these venues around the Mountain West, and there's no reason why Extra Mile Arena can't be that, in my opinion. And I do get a lot of questions, though, Jeremiah, speaking of Extra Mile Arena and the students and that kind of stuff. I think there's some hot topics, I guess, so to speak, of things going on there that I wanted to touch on. And one is the student section. You mentioned that, and you guys are, at least on the lower level, going with the every other row right now in terms of taping off some of the rows. And I get tons of questions about that. What is the reasoning, or what can you say in terms of why you guys are going every other row right now in the student section compared to maybe filling the rest of the arena, regular?
Yeah, well, one, we obviously are still navigating COVID. Our community is still navigating it. I know there's been some announcements over the past couple of weeks in terms of crisis care and some things the governor said. And so it is still a topic, and we're still very much, our basketball program had to navigate it, a few weeks ago. And so we are doing our best. It is challenging and uncomfortable, to say the least. We very much depend on our health experts and take their guidance. And I'm the athletic director. I'm not a doctor, I'm doing the best I can in terms of with our team and making sure that we're communicating, we're being transparent, and it's something that the health advisors had requested. And I think it's we all feel like there's a light at the end of this tunnel, and we want to get to that place where we can have full capacity as it pertains to students, and concession stands open, and but it is what it is at this point, and we're going to continue to put our best foot forward and try to positively impact that experience. You mentioned it, BJ. I mean, Extra Mile is an outstanding facility. Can we do more with it? Absolutely, but it is a great facility, and so to drive people to it and to support something that isn't just from a Bronco State, it's the community, and to have that opportunity. That's something that my hope is that people embrace that, and that we're establishing this foundation that it does matter to us. And those ticket promotions, it's not, obviously we're here to create the resources, and you've talked about charters, and to have a successful program, it costs money. And so that's one of the ways that we can backfill our buckets to be able to reinvest back into our student athlete experience and programs. And so right now we are very much being intentional in how we're approaching that. We want to build a database, whether it's connecting with the various school districts within our community or other opportunities like these ticket promotions where you get your next game free. The idea is to open ourselves up and make sure that this community understands they are welcomed here. And we are going to be building that database, because anyone who's coming, we're reaching out to them, and we're very intentional. We are no longer an inbound office. We are an outbound office. And Jake and that team are doing amazing things. That team just got filled in November. Traditionally, you start this process much earlier. And so we've started a little bit late, but we're not going to make excuses. We know what's ahead of us. And we're very much defining those expectations, and we're going to continue to grind and move this thing forward. And, like I said, I'm always concerned about what's next. And I'm really excited for the foundation that's being built this year and how it ultimately impacts us moving forward in all sports.
And you mentioned COVID obviously playing a role on things, and another area that's come up that's giving you guys some criticism obviously is the decision to go away from concession stands at the basketball games and some of the other events. For you got the water stations, I know, and I assume you're trying to just alleviate the time people aren't wearing masks and the congestion in the concourses. How tough is that? What's been the feedback and what's the thought process with not having the concession stands?
Well, feedback hasn't been great, as you can imagine, which I understand. And like I said before, it's uncomfortable. We take the advice of the people that are considered experts in this space, and we do the best with the hand that we've been dealt. And it's still here, and we're still having to navigate testing protocols and other things. And I think as things are lifted, not just here, but around the country, you'll see us potentially have the opportunity to pivot. Nothing is set in stone. It's something that we're navigating on a day by day basis, and we're going to continue to do that. Does it impact the fan experience? 1,000%. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. Would I want concessions in a full stadium? For sure. But that's something that we're trying to instill into our team, is that we're going to control what we can, and we're going to continue to show up, and we're going to face the uncomfortableness, and we're going to face it head on, and I'm not going to hide from it. So it is what it is right now, but I'm really grateful for the people that are coming, and obviously having 8,000 plus out, and really hopeful for a large student crowd. This should be the biggest crowd, at least in my time here, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, 4 o'clock on a Saturday. It's a perfect time. A couple final things, and we appreciate your time. Jeramiah Dickey, the athletic director at Boise State, joining us here, Bronco Nation News Live. And two football topics real quick. I did want to hit on scheduling, getting a lot of comments about that, and potentially some openings in the schedule moving forward. Everyone, brings up the in-state school they want to play. I mean, what are just your thoughts, I guess, on scheduling? How's that going? Everyone keeps asking about the Florida State game, if that's ever going to happen. I mean, I'm sure you get the same questions and messages sent to you, but any update or what's kind of your look moving forward in terms of filling some of the opening on the football schedule?
Yeah, great question, and I do get it a lot, and I think we are going to work on something through BA to provide kind of a 30,000 foot view of what scheduling is to us, and how we go about that. It's not as easy as people think, which is fine. Part of that is we haven't told a well enough story around it. There are a lot of moving pieces, and a lot of institutions are navigating it. It's challenging to a certain extent, but that means there's opportunity in it. And we've talked about our formula and what we're looking to do, and winning games is obviously extremely important. And when you look at our expectations and maybe path forward as an institution, and BYU coming off of mini schedules, and whatever that looks like, you've heard that out there, and there's still on there's still some things in terms of what happens if the college football playoff expands, and realignment in general. Moving forward, we have UCF and Houston, and so those are things that I'm constantly keeping an eye out. Bob Carney's done an amazing job helping navigate this. So it's not as easy as people think, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't necessarily see it, or it hasn't been advertised yet as it pertains to what Florida State's doing or what others are doing. We always look at the next 5 years, and we want to be locked in. Some of the things that we've thought about, like you mentioned, do we play someone in state, and does that provide us an opportunity to unite the community? And that's something that we're going to run out those ground balls. Also looking at potentially, adding that seventh home game, and does that provide us an opportunity? And part of that is getting the infrastructure in place to take on more, and like having a ticket sales team, and really expanding our facilities and game ops team, and whatnot. So there are a lot of moving pieces. I can assure you that we are on it, and no decision is ever made with a thought of intent to upset. It's the intent to do what's best for our football program. And bottom line, and whether that's experience for our student athletes, whether that's the process of and maybe going down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but when you go east, especially east of the Mississippi, That is extremely challenging for where we're located right now. Doesn't mean we can't do it. We did it for UCF, but ultimately you're not going out a day before, you're going out 2 days. And how does that impact your team? And then that flight back and thinking about who you're playing before and after that game, and spaces within this, within our footprint that we're trying to recruit and trying to get in front of potential student athletes that are on our radar. And so there's a lot that I'm in constant coordination with Bob and Andy and thinking through what does this look like for us and what are we trying to accomplish. We had one of the most difficult schedules in the country this year for a group of five, if you look at who we played. And on top of having the best group of five conference, which just came out recently. And so our conference was really tough. And then you look at our non-conference, that's something that we're going to have to continue to be cognizant of. And we need to show up and do the work. And that's what we're doing. And I'm really confident in our process. I know I'm not always going to make everyone happy, and I understand that. That's part of being a leader and being in a position to make these decisions. What I can assure Bronco Nation is I will always do what I feel is in the best interest of this department and institution. And a big part of that is serving Andy and that team and making sure they're in the best position to have success. And so I take that very seriously, and I appreciate patience on it, and we're going to try to be as transparent as possible as we go through some of these things. But it is not, I think the perception is not necessarily the reality that we're living when we are trying to navigate some of those things.
Well, you mentioned conference realignment. That's the other big topic everybody asks about. If you want to announce a Big 12 invite on the show here, that'd be great. But what can you tell us just about behind the scenes, the conversations, the update? Everyone, I know Bronco Nation is still hoping that's an option down the line. What can you update on your guys' aspirations to potentially land in a Power 5 conference?
One, I think everyone understands the aspirational aspect of this. I want us to be elite and the best possible program in the country, regardless of what level we're at. And I think there's much of that process that we can control. And when I say we, that's everyone. That's Bronco Nation, that's the institution, that's the state, that's the city, that's our staff, and it's going to take a team. I'm very intentional when I say that. It is going to take everyone pulling the rope in the same direction, and I feel like we've made progress. When I think about the controllables, it's filling our venues, it's completing the facility assessment, the Title IX assessment, which we're in the process of completing. It's making sure that we acquire the necessary resources to pour back into our sport programs. It's not just football; it's every sport, and so trying to elevate 18 sport programs and to compete on a national level, and how does that tie into strategic scheduling and how do we become more competitive in recruiting, and now you have the transfer portal in certain cases that is another is something else that we're navigating. And so it very much matters and ties into our what's next initiative, and there's a lot that I'm asking of our supporters to help us, and by no means is there a set template that we have to do X, Y, or Z to get in. Or my goal is to best position us and control what we can in that process, and to ensure at some point that we do have a seat at that table. And that's a big assumption. There are no guarantees that anyone's expanding in the future. But the way I figure it, we are going to either have the seat at the table or be the best of the rest. And I'm really passionate about that. And that ties into every single thing that our team is currently working on in elevating this program and operating at a professional level. And it requires a lot of resources. So you've seen us hit the ground running in terms of fundraising, and what Mike Keller and our BA team, and we just hired Molly and Cody Godler and everything that these guys are doing. It's huge for us because we don't have what everyone else has, and that's okay. I told you when I first got here, whatever we don't have, we're going to go out and find, and we'll go out and get it. And that's what we've been doing, and we're going to continue to do that. And we're going to continue pouring into our sport programs, and we're going to continue to operate at a Power 5 mentality, and we'll control what we can control, and we'll see what happens. But I'm really bullish on this process, and feel we have a great opportunity ahead of us.
And final thing, I mean, with that goes, you mentioned the BAA, and we're seeing, I think, 119 now or 120 announcements for the Lyle Smith Society with the minimum $25,000 commitment, and all the push with the BAA and the Blue Collar Club, and trying to, get that 10,000 number I think you're pushing for in terms of new members. How pleased are you with what you've done on the fundraising side? And that's just a crazy number, at least from my perspective, to think about that 120 people committing that kind of money, and the more money you're trying to get. And I know that does all tie back into your future plans for the stadium and infrastructure and conference and all that stuff. How pleased have you been, and how important is continuing that donor base and those funds for what you guys want to do?
One, I could not be more proud of all, from head coaches to support staff to BAA. A lot of times BAA, gets a lot of the credit, but it takes a team. And there are a lot of people working behind the scenes that are pouring into these processes and proposals, and setting up the meetings, and to get me in front of the right people, and how we expand on that, pipeline. We are going out in an unbelievable community that is growing by the day, especially in the Treasure Valley, and it's something that we have to be very intentional with. And now that we're close to being full staffed, I mean, that's the thing that I'm probably most proud of, is that the games are here, and you guys see, the events, but what's going on behind the scenes, and the number of hats that individuals wear, to best serve our staff, our student athletes, and our supporters. It's remarkable. And it just shows you, when you have intent and there's purpose, and you define those expectations, it's amazing what you can accomplish. And we're living it out. And, we're actually, in terms of how we tell our story, you're seeing, these Lyle Smiths come out, almost on a daily basis, and we're very intentional with what that looks like. We want to continue this momentum, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we're actually well ahead of the number that's out there right now. It's part of our process, and we're going to keep grinding. We need to get to 200, and we need to get there sooner than later. We are still fundraising for operational needs, bottom line. And that is what it is. I'm not passing judgment. It is what it is. And that's who we are. And we're going to continue to do that. And it's going to take the community embracing the Broncos and wanting more. And my hope is that I've provided a vision that gives people hope in a better future. And I'm going to grind it out, and that's and I know our team is as well. And that's who I've surrounded myself with. And I'm so grateful for them and how they're showing up. It's become a point of pride, and I do think it matters, BJ. I mean, when we think about 10,000, I've seen some stuff out there like, well, we need 10,000 to get. No, we don't need a specific number to get there. We need the resources that allows us to pour back into our sport programs and our staff, to get us to that level. And I feel, along with our team, if we can get to 10,000 supporters, which I firmly believe we can, that we're going to have those resources. That, one of the things, I think you've mentioned it before, our creative and comms team, they're doing an amazing job. In some cases, and I probably should be careful when I say team, it may be one person. Think about if we could travel like we are with basketball now, like we do with football. If we could travel someone from video and someone from creative and someone from comms and all these different support groups, that when I talk about that Power 5 mentality, that's how they do it. And so the more resources we get and the more we can control these revenue streams and monetize everything that we're doing, the better opportunities we will have ahead. And that's part of us controlling this process. And so I need to get Dom. Dom's doing a heck of a job. The guy needs help. He's a one-man army in some cases, and he's put together an unbelievable team, and we've invested in that space. But you're seeing it pay dividends. It's not just adding staff or headcount. It's what are they doing to serve the staff, student athletes, and supporters. And telling our story is extremely important. And what he's been doing, I would put it up against and Daniel and others. I don't want to just say it's Dom, but Joe and others in this space, what they're doing with very little. I would put it up against a lot of Power 5s out there. there's intent, they're passionate about it, and they want to be Broncos, and they want this the success that ultimately we're striving for. So I'm grateful, and we're gonna find a way forward. I know that, and I'm excited.
Yeah, no doubt. I was actually going to bring that up. You talk about telling your story, and that has been a great addition this year, seeing some of the recaps the next day, and the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's been great. So appreciate your time and coming on. Again, 4 o'clock tomorrow, San Jose State. Tickets still available. My family's taking advantage of the West Ada deal, so hopefully folks do as well. And again, the buy one, get one, or you buy one, and if they win, you get another one. So lots of great opportunities. Broncosports.com for the ticket office. They can come to the box office, I guess, before the game tomorrow as well.
Yep.
Appreciate it, Jeremiah, and best of luck with the team moving forward. And we appreciate your time, and hopefully we can catch up again soon.
Thanks, BJ. Appreciate it. Go Broncos.
There he is, Jeramiah Dickey, the athletic director at Boise State. Appreciate his time. And again, 4 o'clock tomorrow, San Jose State. Appreciate you checking out.